Hey everybody, this is Nem. Let's do like a slash wave this time. Oh my gosh, look at the production value. Amazing. Listen, I want to talk about Fru. I want to talk about Fru again today. We've talked about Fru 2 days in a row, and we are on day 2 of Fru. And I want to talk about Party Finder. I want to talk about strategies. We don't have like video guides out yet, right? So what I'm gonna do is talk to you about what strategies are being used today, what changes happened from today to tomorrow, and just know that it's all changing. Everybody's arguing about what we should do, and it'll probably change again tomorrow. That's just the way it goes. But for now, these are the kind of the strats. So let's take a look here. Where's my Chrome tab? So markers. Let's talk about markers. We're doing colored pair markers now. We kind of used a lot of DSR strategies before. We're no longer using DSR strategies for fruit. We're now using color pair markers, kind of like an M2S, and we're also using light party colors. So, for example, light party 1, group 1, is going to do red and purple markers, right? So A, 1, D, and 4. And group 2 is going to use yellow and blue markers. So, 2B, 3, and C. And the reason for this is that we're going to use these same markers, these same strategies in phase 2 and maybe in phase 3. So kind of setting this up now, changing this now has made a lot of sense. What we're going to do is change the clock positions as well. We've got tanks north still. One tank north, range 2 still here, range 1 still here, this healer's here, but instead of healer east, tank south, they swap around. So healer 2 is south and tank 2 is east, and then the melees are the same. And this makes a lot of sense for how we handle the tank busters, how we handle mists, and generally just making sure that the range player doesn't have to go to hell and back to do his clock spot, because I was complaining a lot about that. So what this ends up looking like is that it's now supports counterclockwise, DPS clockwise. Wow, I can't talk clockwise, just like before. But they did modify it a little bit so that you can share lane. It just has to make sure that the tank doesn't go too far in. This still kind of sucks for players like Blackmage. Blackmage likes their ley lines to reach both safe spots, and the further out they are, the more that's not going to happen. So that means that the tank player has to get used to being really far in here, really far in, so that the black mage can go back and forth without clipping each other. So the other strategy was better, but this is the strategy they're using now, just because nobody cares about black mage. Tragic. Fire pairs are the same as before, except now, certain people are with different people, but that's the same. We're going to talk about Utopian Sky, the mist mechanic. So what happens here is everybody goes to their clock like normal, except for range 2 and tank 2. Range 2 now swaps and goes east, and tank 2 goes northeast, so that this is all hooray, right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Just these two players are going to swap, and nobody else has to do anything crazy. No more range 2 running to south and then running to north. It's now east. And with the changes in the markers, we actually go to different spots now for safety than we used to. So, if we look at the markers, I don't think we have a slide here, but just remember, right, that group 2 is going to do yellow and blue, and group 1 is going to be purple and red for the safe spots, right? So in this example, let's fast forward here. We see that the safe spots on this one are northeast, which is a yellow marker, and southwest, which is a purple marker. That's what the 2 and the 4 marker. That means that group 2 is going to be up here, and then we just do the spread the exact same as before, range, healer, melee, tank, boom, boom, boom. So that's the same. It's just which spots are safe is a little bit different, because this means that group 1 goes north and group 2 goes south. This is not how DSR works. We're not doing DSR anymore on day 2 in Party Finder. Unless, your group likes the other way, then by all means. So let's look at the clock baits. Now, these clock baits, remember the range and the tank go back to their normal spots. Everybody grabs their normal clock, and life is good. There's a new strategy called fixed tethers after that. Fixed tethers works like this. Nobody really cares how you dodge this, right? You can do group 1 dodge north, group 2 dodge south if using light party fixed tether, but there's absolutely no need. It's not necessary. And some people get anal about this. We just tell those people to get over it. It's a them problem. You could have range 2 north and then just run to the safe spot. Nobody cares, right? So what's going to happen is that they've swapped it to light parties for this fixed tether strategy where, let's say red is safe. So in this example, red is safe. And actually, this is the role-based one. Let's go to the light parties one. So in the light party fixed tether strategy, light party 1 is up here and light party 2 is down here. The reason why light party 1 is preferred is because there's like a lower chance of having to flex, and there's less people have to do less thinking. All we do is light party north, light party south, and if there's a conflict, a tank player will fix the conflict. A tank player will just go to the other team. It's that simple. It's really that simple. So tank player goes down. If there's like let's say somebody from group 2 has to run up, tank player will go, oh, okay, run down. And if one tank player has a tether, then the other tank will do it. It's just tanks flex for the other side. If one side has 3 people and one has 5, a tank will go over. That's how it works. Now, the close tether and the far tether is the concept here. So group 1, group 2, tanks adjust, and then close tether, far tether. Close tether will always go south to group 2, and far tether will always go north to group 1. So since it's fire safe, whoops, I pressed the wrong button. Since it's fire safe, this is the close tether, which means it goes up to south. And since it's fire safe, the opposite tether over here will go to north. And that's really all there is to it, right? So if you have 2 tethers, right, the tank will flex, everybody gets knocked back, and it's done. The conga's the same. Nothing has changed here. This is just exactly the same. All this stuff is exactly the same. Here's a fire example. Here's a lightning example. This is still the mechanic that everybody struggles with. Party Finder traps you on this one a lot. There is an alternate role conga that I haven't tried yet, where it is healer, healer, tank, tank, melee, melee, range, ranged. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it seems like a whole lot of work for not a lot of benefit. I'd have to try it. So I haven't seen anybody use this, by the way. This is just something that they came up with and discussed, and some people liked in the NAR Discord, but I don't know if this is actually something people are using. Maybe that could change by tomorrow, though. In the meantime, Final Towers is now static, so Healer 1 is north, Caster's middle, Healer 2 is south, always, no matter what. It's up to the other 3 to figure it out. Now, a lot of parties get this wrong, so don't be surprised if you're in Party Finder and they don't do it right. But how it's supposed to work is that the melee 1 is going to always have priority on north, so they're going to be like, oh, 2 people needed a north tower, that's me. 3 people needed a north tower, that's me. Only 1 person in the north tower, I'll go to the next tower. And then the fizz ranged player, or the ranged 1 player, is going to look. And honestly, this isn't role based, which I love. You'll notice that they don't specify fizz ranged or sorry, range 1 or range 2. It's specifically whoever is the caster sticks. So that is a very important determination. If you have a caster, they stick it. The ranged will flex. But if you have 2 casters, ranged 1 will be the one flexing, okay? Range 2 is the static caster spot for this fight at the moment. So fizz ranged will get south prio, melee 1 north prio, and melee 2 figure it out. Just make sure you guys are in the right towers, right? So if you are like melee 1 and you aren't going here and you see down that tower number 3 needs 4 players, that means you're going to say, okay, the 4 players are healer 2, fizz range, melee 3. Oh, I need to be down there. I'm the 4th man, right? Same thing for fizz range. You see that 3 players are needed in the top tower and 2 in the middle. You'll say, oh, right, if it's 2 in the middle, 3 up top, so 3 is going to be healer 1, melee 2. I need to go into the second tower. Okay, that's how you'll do your flex prio. And that's it. That's all that's changed in Phase 1. Now, in Phase 2, we have had some changes, and we're going to briefly talk about just one thing in Phase 2. Nothing too crazy. Let me open it up here because I didn't prepare. for it. And then we're going to take a look at a video as well for this. I think it is this one. Yes, okay. So, what we're looking at here is phase 2 at the start. How it works is Diamond Dust happens, she summons the echo of herself, and then AoEs spawn on the outside of the arena. 2 AoEs across from each other. Before we were doing like this weird north relative thing, super complex, super difficult to figure out compared to the new way that they're doing it. So today, they're doing, look at and this is why we use those markers, but look at where the circles spawn. In this example, they spawn on a 1 and a 3. So what we're going to say is that they spawn on numbers. They did not spawn on letters. They did not spawn on A and C or D and B. They spawned on 1 and 3. Those are numbers. If they spawned on 2 and 4, those are also number spawns, okay? This is important. Unmarked players align is the way that I think about this. So if you are an unmarked player, you are going to align, you're going to do the same thing as the circles. The circles spawn on numbers, you are unmarked, you are numbers. Unmarked numbers, circles numbers. If circles are letters and you are unmarked, then circles letters, unmarked player is also letters, okay? Unmarked players align with the AoE circles on the edge of the arena. That's what we're doing right now. And then marked players do the opposite. So if circles are numbers, marked players are letters. If circles are letters, marked players are numbers, right? This is how it's going to work. So what we do, which hasn't changed since yesterday, is that the players who are unmarked still need to be closest to the boss to bait the Proteans, and that the players who are marked need to be further away to bait the AoEs. There's a star, you can see it here in the diagram that there's a star, right, that the job symbols are kind of covering up. It's an 8-point star, 4 out points and 4 in points. The in points are literally where the baiters are standing right now, and the out points are where the AoE players are standing in this example. It's very clean looking when you get this type of pattern. So if it's scythe kick in this example, scythe kick means you stand under the boss, right? This is exactly how it's going to go. You use your color pair partner to figure this out. So if you remember, let's use Melee 1 as an example. Melee 1's clock spot is not west. Melee 1's clock spot is the 4 marker, the purple marker, southwest. They swap with the other purple marker, which is D. D marker, right, is west. They swap with their healer because unmarked players align. The unmarked player was the healer. The circle spawned on numbers. Healer goes to numbers. So colored partners. My number partner as healer 1 is the 4 marker, so I go to 4. Boom. I'm also unmarked, so I have to bait. Is it in or out? It's in. Boom. Okay, I have to be the closest player. I'm going to stand right here. Done. Melee 1 says, I'm a marked player. I cannot be the 4 marker because it spawned numbers. So I'm going to letters. So he just moves up and swaps with his partner. And that's it. That's how you figure it out. And if it's out, if it's in, it's all the same. You're just swapping with your color partner. You don't care about anything else. So once the scythe kick AoE goes off on the scythe kick pattern, what the marked players are going to do is step into the circle AoE behind them on this line. See the circle? Drop your AoE and then move back in. That's all that's going to happen. That's it. And you don't have to like drop it back at the wall or anything. You can just drop it right there. For the unmarked players, they run back to middle. Easy peasy. Alright, so what about axe kick? Axe kick is where you get away from the boss. It's the exact same thing. So northwest and southeast, that's the markers 1 and the markers, what is it, 3? Yeah, 3. So those are where the AoEs dropped, which means that the unmarked players need to align. The unmarked players need to go to numbers. So exact same thing, because they spawned numbers. Healer says I need to be number. I swap with Melee 1, and I'm going to be closer to the boss by being up against this circle to bait that Protean. The Melee 1 says, oh, I have to be letters. I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to go closer to the wall to drop my AoE at the wall for the spread. Now, you'll notice that the tank and healer is in a giant AoE. There is time to run out of the AoE after the axe kick goes off, but it's recommended to pop sprint just in case you have bad latency or lag. And then everybody goes middle, and you're good. And just remember that after this is a knockback. So this is an example for the same mechanic that what if it's letters, right? So in this example, we don't do what's on the diamond. We treat it as inverse, right? Because it spawns on letters. So since it's letters, the unmarked players need to go to letters, which means the melee one says I'm unmarked. It spawned letters. I'm a letter. I go to D. Healer says I'm marked. It spawned on letters, so I gotta move, and they go to 4, right? Same exact thing. And then for the baiters, in this pattern, since the baiters are corners, they just drop them on the corners. You go into the AoE, again on the circle line, drop your starburst AoE, and then you have to go move back in quickly so you don't get clipped by the AoE. Finally, the knockback happens where the safe spots were. Everything else is pretty much the same here. Remember, it's group 1 red, purple, group 2 yellow, and blue markers, right? So northwest, group 1, east, south, group 2. There is a cursed pattern we need to be aware of. So after the knockback, you bait your AoEs. Generally speaking, the strategy is to rotate whichever direction is furthest from Shiva. So if Shiva spawns southwest, both parties are dropping their AoEs to meet in the middle, but there's a cursed pattern, right? So in the cursed pattern, Shiva will spawn on the party member. In this case, both parties will go clockwise. If Shiva spawns on one of the light parties, so all 8 players have to look. After the knockback, everybody's got to figure this out. You got to look at Shiva, and if she spawns on one of the parties at the knockback, both parties have to move clockwise, or else you're going to be screwed. And that's just how it works. I don't think anything has changed for mirrors. And I don't think anything's changed really for lights rampant. It's still northwest and northeast swap corners, middle people swap. That's really it for the strategies. Hopefully this is helpful. So let's move into watching a little bit of a clip that I have prepared for you. And we're going to go over phase 1, just the start of the changes. Phase 2 will kind of show you what it's supposed to look like at the start for the hard part. We did not get it right in this clip, but that's okay. You know, we are still learning. Oops, sorry, my bad. So you'll see that we have the new clock positions. Healer is south and west. Tank is north and east. We're going to handle this like we would normally. I'm also fake melee here, so don't get too freaked out about that. Oh, feeble shield protects nothing. So blah, blah, blah. He does mechanics, and we're going to be seeing mist, so it's a spread mist. So here's how this works. We're all going to go to our spots, remember? The tank's north and northeast, and the ranged is going to go east to the 3 marker. See? And then, because I'm group 1, we go to the red or purple, so I went to red. And that's really the only change there. That's it. That is exactly how it should look. We're going to move, and now we're going to notice that red is safe, Return of the Heavens, and we're going to take a look here at, oh God, what have I done? Oh. Okay, so the tethers are out. Now, there's a little bit of an issue in this group in that they were doing most of the new strats, but not the new tether strat, and I thought they were doing the new tether strat, so you might see something messed up here from the other players, but we're going to focus on my movement as an example of doing the new strat. So the left tether on this example, since red is safe, is the close tether, right? Because it's on red side. This tether is red tether, red side. That's the close one. Where does the close one go? The close one goes to group 2, which is south. And the far tether, which is lightning blue, is going to go north to group 1. Let's see if it actually plays out that way. And just remember that it is light parties, so since I'm group 1 melee in this example, I'm going to go north to group 1. We'll go up, blah, 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 no one cares. And we see some confusion about what strat is actually being used here. Let's see how they resolve it. Far tether should be north. Let's see what happens. Ah, so the tank goes, I'll adjust. And so this isn't exactly how it should be if you're showcasing the new strat. There's nothing wrong with using yesterday's strat. There's no settlement on what's best. Just so you can prepare to do either strat while you're PFing. This far tether would go south, or I'm sorry, the close tether would go south, the far tether would go north, and it would be group 1, group 2. But you might still see roll stacks. Roll stacks is great and simple. The only issue with it is that sometimes you have to flex more. So if you have people who are not good at flexing, well, that strategy is probably not for them, right? So it doesn't matter which one you use. But that's what PF is doing today. So group 1, group 2, and you'll see that it's a little weird because we have like 3 supports and a DPS, because technically they were doing the other strat and I didn't realize, and I should be down there. But I digress. So again, nothing has changed with conga, but just to go over again, it's ranged, healer, melee, then tank, right? So here we go. We're going to look at the 4 tethers. We've got lightning on tether 1, lightning on tether 2, and the way that you tell this is just listen to it. You don't even have to look at the tethers. It just made an electricity crackling noise, twice in a row. That first 2 tethers are lightning, man. You don't even need to see it. Oh, we got a lightning 3. Did we get all 4? Hold on, let's listen to it again. Lightning 1. Lightning 2. Lightning 3. And fire 4. Okay. So again, lightning. And then lightning. And remember the pattern, right? So the tethered players always handle east and west, the untethered players north and south. Remember, nothing has changed, that the 2 western most untethered players went west, and the 2 eastern most untethered players went east, right? Same thing as always. Bingo, bango, eat the mango, right? Boom, lightning, lightning, and the last one's fire, of course, so they just stand behind him. And that's it. We're going to get Burnished Glory again. This dot really does suck, but I'm sure you're familiar with it by now. If you've gotten this far, you should have some good mitts set up for it. And then finally, we'll showcase the tower adjustments. Now let's see if this actually goes correctly, because I don't remember on this particular pool. But this is a burnt strike, so we have to get knocked back. So remember, it's going to be this Pictomancer is going into the middle tower. That is their spot. Nobody takes that middle tower from caster. That is their home. This healer 2, always in the south tower, and healer 1 in the north. We see that we need 3 people south, 1 middle, 2 north. This means melee 1 should go north. Guess who's melee 1? That's me. So I should go up there. Do I realize that? I do. Although I don't know how to angle myself. We just scoot in there just in time. Whoops. So yeah, perfect. Fantastic. That's how you do the new towers. Now finally, we'll get into just looking a little bit at the first Shiva mechanic, because we definitely wiped to it earlier today. And that might give us a little bit of like a, how does this look? Because sometimes you need a visual example to kind of understand the party finder strat. And I definitely mess it up here, but I'll be able to talk about how to do it correctly as we go. Wait, we wiped? No. Oh no, hold on. Let's skip. I thought this was 1 pull. My bad. Hold on. We're getting there. Okay. There we go. Back to tower. So in this case, I'm middle tower. Why am I middle tower? I should not be middle tower here. I should be... No, I should be. Never mind. Right? Oh yeah, okay, that's correct. I did it right. Alright. So now let's go... Come on, do damage group. Okay. Here, right about here. Oh yeah, we melee LB'd for prog purposes, because DPS was low. I don't remember why it was. But when Shiva spawns, look, she's here. She's great. We're progging Usurper of Frost, right? She does the 2 tank busters. I think we invul this nowadays, right? At least right now. Maybe not later. I don't know. But a struggle for another day. So we're gonna have to pay very close attention here. Don't forget to mitt. I'm gonna add all this diamond dust, and sometimes I even mana ward, because I'm scared. There that goes. Here we go. Right off the bat, what do we recognize? What do we recognize? The circle spawned on 1 and 3. So the call out should be scythe kick numbers, right? So numbers in. Numbers in. If it's numbers and in, look at the star in the middle, right? That means unmarked players need to be on numbers. I'm an unmarked player. I should stay on 4. There's no adjust. The DPS are not adjusting here. Nobody has to move because circles spawned on numbers. What has to happen is that on these inner points here, we need to move in to bait the Proteans, while the AoE players stand on the point right here where this Blackmage symbol is. That's where the AoE players are going to stand to survive the scythe kick, not accidentally bait the Protean, and then they're going to move out into the circle that spawned here. What am I going to do? Probably get really confused. I'm so confused. Look, I'm like, what's happening? What do I do? Right? Okay, so now that the Proteans are out, let's pretend we did it right and people didn't die. Now that the Proteans are out, the AoE players step back. So let's take this healer as an example. Healer 1. Healer 1 is going to drop it right on this line right here. See this black line? Just put that AoE right there, and then everyone's going to move in and prepare for the knockbacks. So there's that. I'm getting confused. These are all now in totally wrong positions. That's okay. But for the knockback, the original circles were on 1 and 3, so because it's group 1 red-purple, group 1 gets knocked back to 1, and group 2 gets knocked back to 3. And that's how you handle this mechanic. We don't make it quite that far. But that's alright. That is how the strat works in Party Finder on day 2. So hopefully that helps. It might be different in an hour. It might be different by tomorrow morning. I don't know. And that's okay. Learning multiple strats is just helpful for everybody. But hopefully this helps you guys just keep jumping into Party Finder and having a good time learning the fight until we get some high quality, super awesome guides as the strategies become static and as the high end content creators do their movie magic, making guides for everybody. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this is helpful. I'll see you next time. See ya.